The small town was silent that Sunday morning until the roar of motorcycle engines shattered the peace. Outside a church, a group of bikers laughed cruelly as a young woman stood trembling, her face smeared with dirt and fear. Her shirt was torn, her hands shaking and tears mixed with blood on her cheeks. "Please just leave me alone," she whispered. The men circled her, grinning. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "Afraid," their leader taunted, stepping closer. The others cheered, their boots scraping against the gravel. But as the leader reached out to grab her, a deep growl rolled through the air. Low, powerful, and impossible to ignore. The bikers turned. From the tree and emerged a massive German shepherd, its fur bristling, eyes locked on the men. The girl whispered through her trembling lips, "That's my dog." What happened in the next 5 seconds would leave every man. They're frozen and the entire town talking. 4 years. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The town of Ridgewood was small, the kind of place where everyone knew each other's names and strangers were noticed instantly. So, when Maya Turner arrived, people talked. She was quiet, reserved, and always seen, wearing her late father's old police jacket, the faded K9 unit patch still visible on the sleeve every morning. She walked alone down Main Street, her loyal German shepherd's shadow trotting beside her. No one knew much about her past. Only whispers that her father was a decorated police officer who died in the line of duty and that she'd been left with nothing but memories in his retired K9 partner. To Maya, Shadow wasn't just a dog. He was family. The last piece of her father she had left. Though kind, she kept to herself, avoiding crowds and noise. But in towns like Ridgewood, silence attracts attention, and soon unwanted eyes began to follow her. Men who mistook quiet for weakness, unaware that the girl they saw as fragile had a guardian that no one dared to provoke. It was only a matter of time before fate and cruelty collided in a way the town would never forget. Sunday afternoons in Ridgewood were quiet until the rumble of motorcycles broke the peace Maya had stopped by Henderson's Diner, a small roadside spot where locals gathered. After church, she just wanted a cup of coffee, a few minutes of warmth before heading home. But the moment she walked in, every conversation paused. At a corner booth sat a group of leather-clad bikers led by Rick Dalton, a man everyone in town avoided. He noticed her instantly. The worn police jacket, the patch that read K9 unit. A slow smirk spread across his face. "Well, look who we got here," he said loudly. "The little cop's daughter." Laughter followed. Maya tried to ignore them, keeping her eyes down, but Rick stood, blocking her path. "You think you're better than us, huh?" he taunted. The diner fell silent. "I just want to leave," she whispered. Rick leaned closer, his voice low. "Then you'll have to go through me." The laughter started again, cruel, echoing off the walls. As Maya realized she wasn't just being teased, she was being hunted. Maya's boots crunched against the gravel as she stepped outside, her heart pounding in her chest. The sunlight reflected off the rows of motorcycles lined up beside the old church. Behind her, the diner door swung open and the bikers followed. Rick's laughter echoed through the parking lot. "What's wrong, sweetheart? Thought you could just walk away." His friends fanned out, forming a loose circle around her, their boots stomped the ground, chains rattling from their jackets. Maya clenched her fists, her voice trembling. Please, I don't want any trouble. Rick smirked, circling her like a predator. Trouble? You brought it. Here. He snatched her backpack, spilling its contents. A few notebooks, a photograph of her father, and a small police medal that glinted in the sunlight. The men laughed. Daddy's little hero. One of them mocked, crushing the photo under his boot. Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't back down. That's enough, she said quietly. Her voice was soft, but steady. Rick stepped closer, smirking. What are you going to do? Call your daddy? The others laughed again. The sound cruel and sharp. And then everything went still. From the distance came a deep, low growl, so powerful it cut through their laughter like thunder. The men froze, turning toward the trees. Maya's eyes widened. She knew that sound. The parking lot fell silent. The air thick with tension. The laughter died instantly as a massive German shepherd emerged from the tree and his fur bristling, eyes locked on the men surrounding Maya. His growl was deep and steady, a warning that made even the toughest biker take a step back. Wow! What's this? Rick muttered, forcing a grin. Your mutt come to play hero? But his voice trembled just enough to betray his fear. The dog Shadow moved forward, muscles coiled, standing between Maya and the bikers. His teeth flashed as he snarled, tail stiff, protective instinct blazing. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Shadow, she whispered, her voice cracking. It's okay, boy. I'm fine. But Shadow didn't move. His gaze stayed locked on Rick, reading every twitch, every threat. Rick laughed nervously, trying to save face. Back off, dog, he barked, taking a step forward. It was a mistake. In an instant, Shadow lunged. Powerful, precise, trained. He knocked Rick backward, his massive paws pinning him down, his jaws stopping inches from Rick's throat. The other bikers froze, afraid to move. Call him off, one shouted. But Mia didn't have to. Shadow simply growled, a low controlled rumble that made his point clear. He wasn't attacking. He was warning. For the first time that day, Rick and everyone else understood one thing. This girl was not alone. Sirens wailed in the distance, their echo cutting through the stunned silence. One of the bystanders had called the police after filming the entire confrontation. Within minutes, patrol cars screeched into the parking lot, red and blue lights flashing across the scene. Officers rushed in, shouting commands. Shadow stood his ground, still, hovering protectively over Maya. Easy, boy, she whispered, gently placing a hand on his back. He let out a soft whine, stepping aside as she rose to her feet. Rick and his crew were quickly handcuffed, their faces pale and humiliated. We were just joking around, one of them protested. But the officer shook his head. You call that a joke? Then another officer approached, his eyes widening at the sight of the German shepherd. Wait a minute. I know that dog. He knelt down, brushing his hand over Shadow's collar. The old K9 tag was still there, scratched, but legible. Shadow, Ridgewood Police Unit. The crowd gasped. He looked at Maya with newfound respect. This is Sergeant Turner's dog, isn't it? Your father's. Maya nodded silently, tears welling in her eyes. The officer smiled softly. Your dad trained one of the best dogs this town's ever seen. Looks like he's still doing his job. As Rick and his men were taken away, the townspeople watched in awe. The story of the new girl and her legendary protector was far from over. It was just beginning. Days passed, but the story spread faster than wildfire. The video of the incident hit social media. A terrified girl, a gang of bikers, and a German shepherd charging in like a storm within hours. It was everywhere. Headlines read, "Hero. Dog saves young woman from biker gang." People across the country called it the most heart-stopping moment they'd ever seen back in Ridgewood. Maya couldn't go anywhere without someone stopping her. The same townspeople who once whispered behind her back now smiled with pride. Children ran up to pet Shadow, and shopkeepers left treats for him outside their doors. The sheriff's department even held a small ceremony, honoring both Maya and Shadow for their bravery. As the sun set that evening, Maya walked down the quiet street toward her father's grave. Shadow walked beside her, tail swaying gently. She knelt, brushing snow off the headstone. "I did it, Dad," she whispered softly. "He protected me, just like you taught him to." Shadow sat close, pressing against her side. The wind rustled through the trees, carrying her words into the night. The narrator's voice faded in. "Some heroes never wear capes, and some never leave our side. Loyalty doesn't end with death. It's passed on to those strong enough to carry it forward." And with that, Maya and Shadow walked into the fading light. A girl in her guardian, bound by love and legacy.